Welcome back to Movie Plot Recapped. Today I will explain the movie Now You See Me. It is about horsemen. At the start of the movie, we see one of the magicians. His name is Daniel and he is showing his magic by playing cards. The scene cuts here and we see Merritt, who is the master of hypnotizing. It means he can hypnotize anyone to do his task. After it, there is the entry of Jack. He is showing the magic to people on the boat. In the end, we see Henley and she was performing her magic in Los Angeles. Here a mysterious man was keeping an eye on all of them. Who is this man? It is a mystery and we will know it at the end of the movie. Here we see these four get the tarot cards. There was an I symbol on those cards. There was an address and a date was mentioned on those cards. It means it was an invitation. They reach a building and its address was mentioned on the card. Reaching there, they find the building is locked. Then Jack breaks the lock of the building. When they go inside, they find a rose and a jug of water. As they put the rose inside the water, smoke produced from the flower. With it, a projector turns on. There was the design and detail of the show on it. It means now they have to work together. This all ends here. Then in the movie, we see them in Vegas working together after a year. There we see two more new characters in the movie. Arthur and Thaddeus. Arthur is the sponsor of this show and also a huge businessman. Thaddeus does the work to expose the magic of the magicians. He shows the mystery of their tricks to people. He was also recording a video of this show so that he can expose them in public. The magicians show many tricks in the show. Their last trick was a bank robbery. They choose a man from the public, takes the bank details, and calls him on the stage. Daniel gives a card to the man on the stage. He asks him to sign the card and place it in his pocket with the ticket for the show. They were about to send the man to his bank through their magic. That's why Merritt and Jack make him wear a helmet. Due to it, he will be connected with this show. Henley takes a teleportation machine on stage through her magic. Now they send the man to the bank in Paris through a teleportation machine. The man genuinely disappears from the stage. After some time, we see the man was visible to a huge screen of the show. He was in the locker of the bank. There was a lot of money. The man, according to the instructions of Daniel, he places the signed card and the ticket of the show on the money. Then he presses a button with his helmet. The money goes to the ventilation pipes and it moves to the place where was the show going on. The hall was full of money. When people checked the money, that was real money. On another side, when the bank opens, they didn't find the money. But there was the signed card and the ticket for the show. They become famous because of robbery. The police arrest them because of the robbery. An FBI agent, Dylan, investigates the bank robbery. He was investigating with his companion to the man who was used by magicians in robbery. But they didn't know anything here because the magicians hypnotized the man during the show. He was still hypnotized. After it, they start investigating the horsemen. But the horsemen make them fool and leave from there. Like this, the police couldn't get any evidence against them. The police leave them. Dylan wants to solve this case at any cost. As he comes to know the magician Thaddeus, who exposed the magicians, was in this show, so he goes to take help from Thaddeus. During their conversation, we come to know about Lionel Shrike. He was a great magician and his career was destroyed when Thaddeus exposed him. But he didn't lose hope and he started making new tricks. While performing a trick, Lionel Shrike dies one day. Here they ask Thaddeus, "Are you considering yourself responsible for the death of Lionel Shrike?" He says no, he dies just because of his trick. After it, Thaddeus explains to them how horsemen robbed that bank. He tells them they have already hypnotized the man from whom they take the details of the bank. The same copy was made of the bank under the stage. It means the man didn't teleport to Paris, he just went under the stage. The money which disappeared from the bank and come here, Thaddeus says about this, maybe the money was robbed during the transfer time. The duplicate money was placed in return. The card the man signed and the ticket for the show was also placed there. The duplicate money they placed there was made of fire paper. It means they will burn easily and disappear from there. After it, we see horsemen in a new show. In this show of horsemen, Dylan and Thaddeus also come here. They call a businessman Arthur in the show for their last trick. Arthur was the sponsor of their show. Daniel asks the people in the show to check their bank balances. After it, Henley has brought a huge check. The amount that was in Arthur's private bank account was mentioned on it. It was approximately $140 million. Here Merritt again asks the people in the show to check their bank balances. Surprisingly, their bank balances were increasing. Now the amount the people on the show get the same amount from Arthur's account was decreasing. Like this, the people in the show get all the money. Arthur's balance gets zero. Now horsemen say that the people in the show were called willingly. The people face loss because of the natural disaster. When they go to claim for insurance, they didn't get the insurance money. This insurance company was of Arthur. That's why all the money from his bank account was given to those people. Telling all this those horsemen to vanish from there. Dylan wants to hold them but they successfully escaped from here. The next day, Dylan's companion tells him about the magicians community. They rob the money from the rich and give it to the poor. They also stop the evil tasks in the world. She tells him the community include 2 or 3 magicians in their community every 100 years. She says I think maybe those horsemen want to be a part of the I community. That's why they are doing this. Then Dylan sees towards her and says while thinking maybe there is a 5th man who is also with them. He helps them. After it, we see Dylan's phone is showing some error. As he checks his phone, he comes to know that is not his phone. Daniel has his phone. All the messages and calls on this phone were traced. After the investigation, Dylan gets their address. The place where those horsemen were living for a year. Before Dylan arrives there those horsemen remove their pieces of evidence. We see Jack is burning some papers. Meanwhile, Dylan comes there. The other 3 horsemen moved from there. Only Jack was left there. Jack's task was still left and they start fighting. But Jack successfully runs from there with the papers. Now we see all F.B.I. cars were following Jack's car. Because they want to hold Jack and want to take those documents from him. The documents which he had in his hands. Meanwhile, Jack's car gets into an accident and he dies. Dylan immediately takes those documents from his car, then the car blasts. Dylan comes to know from those papers that now the horseman will rob a private security constructor. He has done $1 million corruption. The government was also investigating it. This case was also under Dylan. There we also come to know that Daniel has taken this information from Dylan's cell. They come to know the whole money is in a secure locker. That locker is placed in a house. The F.B.I. team goes there for the security of the locker. But going there, they find the house empty. It means there wasn't any locker. Through investigation, they come to know that Dylan's boss has given permission to transfer the box. It means those horsemen have hypnotized his boss. As Dylan searches for the truck in which there was the box, they see this is the wrong locker and there were only balloons in this locker. Here we see those horsemen in a YouTube video. They were telling about their new and the last show. That where and when their show will be happen and this show will be free, everyone can come to watch it. The F.B.I. team also come to know all this. The F.B.I. team also goes to their show. Here magicians do a live broadcast inside the building. The show was going on in the building through a projector. Then they go to the roof of the building and the F.B.I. goes there to hold them. But the F.B.I. couldn't hold them because they were just puppets. They see that those magicians were on the top of another building. They talk to their friends and then they jump from the building. They were also not really here, we're just projectors. Meanwhile, the money flies from there. Then we are shown they were running from the back side of the building. All people were collecting the money. But an F.B.I. agent sees that the money was duplicate. Then it becomes a mystery for them. If this is fake, then where is the real money? Meanwhile, Thaddeus, who is going to his car, when he locks his car, the money comes out of his car. It is clear from it that he has stolen the money. Or it was stolen for him. Then the police arrest Thaddeus. Dylan thinks he is the 5th companion of horsemen. Here Dylan comes to meet Thaddeus in jail. Thaddeus says to Dylan, I know how the magicians did this. He says Jack is also not dead, he is alive. He tells him the car in which Jack was running and the car who F.B.I. was chasing, those were other cars. The car F.B.I. was chasing, Jack wasn't in it. Then he tells him, when you see there is no locker in the house, that was just a scam. It means they have adjusted a mirror in front of the locker. That's why you feel the house is empty. With it, he tells him when you went to search for the other locker, Jack came there, he breaks the mirror and locker. He takes all the money. Here Dylan says to him, how can act of his death? They don't even kept the money? Why someone takes this risk? On it, Thaddeus says, this is the only thing that I couldn't understand. Dylan says to Thaddeus, now I understand the whole story. When Thaddeus turns his face back, here the mystery of the movie discloses. Dylan instantly moves out of the jail. He says to him, maybe someone has taken revenge on him. The revenge in Lionel Shrike, whom you exposed and have destroyed his life. He tells him the locker that was used at the time of the incident. It was made by the alcohol company for the bank which was robbed by the horsemen. Due to the error in the locker, Lionel Shrike died. After the death of Lionel Shrike, the company of Arthur didn't claim the insurance for his family. That's why the man has also taken out the money from Arthur's account. These horsemen have taken revenge on Lionel Shrike while robbing all of them. They all have trapped you. After this, when Thaddeus turns back to think something, suddenly, Dylan comes out and the mystery of the movie is disclosed. That he is the fifth horseman. We also come to know that Dylan is the son of Lionel Shrike. He has done all this for his and his family's revenge on them. The mysterious man whom we saw at the start of the movie who was keeping an eye on them. He was the man. Now the four horsemen go to Los Angeles. There they find a tree of Lionel Shrike. There was an I symbol on it, and as they put their cards on it, they see all the lights, songs, and swings turn on. Here they meet Dylan. Seeing him, they become happy and they understand Dylan has called them together. Dylan is the fifth horseman and he also worked for the I community. Now Dylan welcomes them in the I community. With it, this movie ends here. Thank you for watching.